you intended to be seen from. So this has always been intended to be seen more from the expressway, which is an elevated roadway, and not monumenting. But the law changed. I'm sure Stephanie and Mary will tell you from Scrub, the law changed so that the perspective is it's from the lowest street. So that's one of the reasons why we are we would get a refusal for the height it is even today if we were to try and rebuild it, or just raising it even just to where we want to go about another 20 feet in height. But that's because it's always been intended to be seen from the Schuylkill Expressway. What we're trying to do is make it so it will be seen from the Schuylkill Expressway because of the intervening blockage from the signage and the wall.
So if I understand correctly, your only other option is to change it or take it down? Are those your two choices?
No, that's not there's always the option that, as I said, that what's happening right now is we'll be able to, as you can see, we at least on one side have been able to have, I think, it was Chipwreck, which was the movie before. This time we now have the Franklin Institute and the dinosaur exhibit. But the other side has always been a problem in terms of getting. We've had smaller advertisers that haven't been able to stay there, and what we are hoping is by upgrading it, modernizing it, that, as I said, we would be willing to talk to this neighborhood about limiting the content of what would go there.
Is it possible to entirely remove it?
Is it possible to entirely? No, it's not. Well, anything's possible. But Mr. Cipollini, who's and Dominic, want to just raise your hand. And Dominic is the owner of the Billboard. Mr. Cipollini has a structure that's legally there, and so it's not in the long term that as long as he holds it, he's going to get rid of it.
Whose ground is it?
Mine. It's his. He has a dedicated easement that was given.
It doesn't belong to Gallo.
Does not. Gallo, it's an easement, so he has a right to that little parcel. Gallo can go over it also, but he has a right that cannot be disturbed by that. But Gallo has nothing to do with this. I don't think Gallo even granted this. It was back in 67 when the Billboard was created. I think it went to Rollins. There was an advertisement.
Originally, that was a Geno's.
A Geno's.
Geno's.
Okay.
Geno's is built.
Okay, but Gino was an accessory billboard at one point then.
No, it's actually an unaccessory sign place.
Well, it's been since 67, yeah. Jim.
Sir, could
Yeah.
you please clarify for the community members the intent of Philadelphia Code Title 14, I believe it's Section 1604, letter O? You should be familiar with that as
I don't know it off the top of my head. If you want to wait a second, I will get my code. Because I don't know if you used to. I grew up and I remember the Watergate hearings. I remember Senator Sam Ervin, who was the chairman of the Senate committee investigating whether or not Richard Nixon should be impeached. Sam Ervin would always say, before anything, let me check the Constitution. So if a scholar is well known as Sam Ervin and is scholarly and knowledgeable, Sam Ervin needed to check the Constitution. Give me a second to check the code.
Thank you. It's probably in the back of your sheet.
On the back page. Is it the one on the back of the sheet?
Are you saying within the one
No, unfortunately, it's not.
within 660 feet of any public?
That is correct, yes, sir.
The intent is that they do not want, unless there's a hardship, unless there's some basis,
So I guess
they do not want a billboard. They're prohibiting a billboard within 660 feet of any public or private preschool, elementary, middle, or high school.
But the question I ask is...
City council said that. But we have the zoning. City council also passed the zoning code, which the entire intent of the zoning code is to be able to allow people who have a hardship to their property or being unreasonably burdened by the regulations of the zoning code to be able to seek relief from the zoning board, or otherwise it could be considered, I'm not arguing this as a taking, but it could be considered a taking of somebody's property without just compensation. So that's why you have a zoning code. That's the total overall intent of the zoning code, in which this section is just a part of.
Well, I understand. The question is, why is that law in place as of right now? What is the intent of the law? What does it seek to protect? Obviously, it's there for a reason. Can anyone answer that question? Is there
I didn't create the law. I'm just trying to interpret it. But again, as I said, they are trying, city council passed that law as part of the revision to the code, but they also didn't take away the rights to seek a variance.
perfect? So I'll tell you what, this is an impressive, really impressive turnout tonight. Why don't we get the community members involved? Why don't somebody take a stab? And one of the reasons why you really shouldn't have one of these signs within 660 feet of a public or private school. Come on, somebody. Go right ahead.
I'm a kindergarten teacher at Brescia Elementary School. Could you stand up, please? Certainly. My name's Mrs. Potterfield, and I'm a guest here tonight. I don't live in this neighborhood. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I work at Brescia Elementary School. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I am very concerned. I beg your pardon? Now I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm very concerned about children who are walking to and from school. I'm worried about distractions. I think that it is not if an accident will happen, but when an accident will happen. We'll be so sorry about that, but I think to take the high road, to avoid something like that, to lessen the danger for children in a neighborhood is a good thing. And that's why I think a billboard like that should not be placed there. It's like a giant iPhone.
So shall we get another one, or do you want to proceed with your presentation, please?
I just want to point out, historically, I think the billboard that's right here, which is about, I don't know, arguably, 100 feet away from the school, was created by variances. So they exist because somebody went to the zoning board and was able to prove that they had some sort of ability or hardship or something that allowed them to have a billboard. So we do have something that's right next to this school. So I'm just saying, we weren't involved, but I'm just saying, you know, that intent was there. So yes, sir.
Sir, I'm the owner of the golf station.
Yeah.
Just for your information, that sign's been there over 25 years.
Yeah.
So it was there since when I bought the property in '86. So Rollins Outdoor had it prior to.
I think it started in '77.
That's right. So
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not. But it's there by variance.
Yes.
And they had to go to the zoning
I
board.
don't have a problem with the sign.
Our building is, our sign was there by as of right way back when. That's all.
And that sign's been raised, too.
Yes, sir. And the reason why they raised it was because they put the sound barrier.
Exactly.
See, that's.
There you go.
They raised it 44 feet, and about 4 years ago, Clear Channel had to spend $100,000 to make the sign 14 by 48. Because the city went around with helicopters and took pictures and said it was too big. So, which, I don't have a problem with a bigger sign, trust me, because I don't get any more or any less. You know, I have a 20-year contract on it. But they made it smaller, and they disturbed my business because they had to bring a 100-ton crane in here to do it. It took 2 weeks to do it. You know, but I don't ever have a problem with it. Very good.
All right, I just want to say, we'll get more questions at the end, but I think Steve gave his presentation. I think it's fair enough that we let Mary and Stephanie give the other side of the opinion. So